the MQFF 2012 show, presented by proud media partner of Melbourne Queer Film Festival, JOY94.9.
And it's already halfway through. And we will be available as a podcast or 17 podcasts. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work because I haven't asked my friend Leo to help us out. I'd like to thank him for helping out on the panel today. I'm Danae and the festival director, Lisa Daniel, is here.
I am.
And hashtag MQFF22 if you'd like to follow us on Twitter. Lisa's going to introduce our final guest for this hour.
We have, sitting with us on the desk,
Not on
filmmaker,
the desk.
not quite on the desk, but at the desk, filmmaker, actor extraordinaire, Ian Murton.
I was looking around the room thinking, who on earth is she talking about?
Yes. Now, Ian has a film in the Oz Shorts as well, so he'll be up against Grant, who I see is lying wounded out in the green room there. So they'll be competing against each other for the $3,000 cash prize in the City of Melbourne Emerging Filmmaker Best Oz Short.
Yes. Can I be an emerging filmmaker at my age? I'm not sure about that.
Yeah,
he certainly can.
I know, at 25, it's probably a bit past being emerging. Now,
yes.
Tell us a little bit about the film.
Well, my film is a very... my idea to begin with was to make like a visual poem. So it's actually a silent film, basically. I mean, it's got music, obviously, and there are some sound effects, but there's no dialogue. And this
Is that because you couldn't think of anything to write, or
no? It actually
sort
of started. It started because I was laying down some old films, Super 8 films that I made for a friend of mine. I made films with him when we were kids at school, and I wanted to give him copies on DVD. And I started watching these films that we made when we were 15, 16 years old. And of course, in those days on Super 8, there was no sound. Unbelievable,
True.
I know, and they were in sepia as well. No, but there was no sound. So I was looking at this going, and now that's what filmmaking is about, telling stories with pictures. And that was where I then thought, I'm going to go back to where I started. I'm going to try and make a film where I strip away all dialogue, because I'd actually just finished writing a feature script, which is such a talk fest. And I just thought, that's crazy. Okay, this is not filmmaking. This is like a play now. It's got so many words. So I thought, no, I'll go back to telling a story with just pictures. So that's where it started.
Cool.
So it's a story about...
You know what? I get a lot of filmmakers asking for advice about making films and making a short, and, what is the ideal length for a short and that sort of thing. And I always give them the advice of watching ads, because ads tell a lot of a story in 30 seconds. And I think you've gotten onto something really good in that you can tell a lot of story without dialogue in film, because you're showing, not telling. You don't need to spell it out as such.
It's amazing that more aren't done that way, because one thing the whole MTV generation has taught us is that so many stories get told in like 3 minutes. And quite complicated stories sometimes.
Absolutely.
And just with musical accompaniment. And I would have thought that the logical step for a lot of young filmmakers who are making music videos would be to go. But it's like as soon as they get away from that genre, they go, okay, now we're going to talk.
Yeah.
Now we're going to have dialogue, and now it's going to be real acting, not just miming. It's like, nah. You can do it. And it's amazing to me that, of course, what's going to win all these Golden Globes or Oscars, what has won Golden Globes?
Is the silent film,
Is a silent movie.
Yeah. So what's Echo about?
Oh, Echo is about, it's about a middle-aged gay man who may or may not look a lot like me, who is recently had a major bereavement, and he's starting to question where he is in his life, how old what he's lost, what he's gained, where he is, and he meets a young man who reflects, in a sense, to him where he was, and what he is now. How he's going to embrace the future, how he's going to move forward, and this traveller, this person passing through his life, helps him to kind of kickstart his life again.
So where did the story come from?
Well, it mostly came from me losing my father a few years back, and also a very dear friend to whom my father and this friend Scott, the film is dedicated to them. Scott was my age, and he died very suddenly. And I was privileged enough to actually be the person who found him. So it was quite an intense experience. And then also, at much at the same time, I was performing in a play with a young actor who'd never performed in a play before, even at school. He'd never done a play before. And I found myself watching this guy and going, oh my God, that's where I was. How brave is this kid? And he's brave because he doesn't know what I know. And he was just fearless taking on this role. And I thought, man, I wish I was back there. And then, but you can't go back.
So the more you know, the less risks you're likely to take.
Exactly.
Do you think that's right?
I think it can be. That's where you can easily fall into that.
Yeah.
So if anything, like or lump it, this film is me going, okay, this is just, I'm just going to take a risk. I'm going to put myself out there. And I have really put myself out there because I've written it, produced it, directed it, starred in it, did some of the additional photography, and also I've been involved in writing the music for it. So if it sucks, I'm dead.
So how are you going to feel about seeing yourself on the very large screen at ACMI?
Oh, I
mean, you've seen yourself before, but you're much more exposed here.
I'm very exposed here. Good thing I went to the gym, hey?
You're a fit-looking guy.
Tried to, because I'm up against one magnificent-looking specimen, the beautiful Ryan Stewart, who's not only a spectacular-looking young man, but also an incredibly fine performer and a great person. And it was such a privilege to have him on the project, and he was so generous and so easygoing and so professional. He was just a breath of fresh air.
Fantastic. So what do you hope to achieve with the film? Like, what, do you want to, sell it to a distributor? Do you want to screen it at other festivals? Do you want to maybe get some TV interested? Do you want to use it for funding for future projects?
I think probably 2 or 3 of those. One is I would love to see it in a few different festivals around the world. One of my favourite experiences was my last film, was going to a festival with it in Los Angeles. And that was just so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And to be in Hollywood, seeing your film on a huge screen in front of hundreds and hundreds of people who are all industry people. That's the whole of the audience basically are in the industry. And that was an amazing experience. And I'd love to be able to do that again. I'm hoping that my agent might think it's a useful sales tool for me as an actor. And I also hope that I will be able to use it to get people interested in my next project, which may or may not be a feature. Maybe.
Now, your experience goes back a long way in the industry, more as an actor.
Yes.
Tell us a little potted history about your acting.
Oh, man. Well, I actually started pretty much straight out of school. I started working at Crawford Productions, and then I joined the Melbourne Theatre Company Youth Theatre. And out of that, I got my first screen role in one of Australia's probably one of the earliest, the start of the industry, The Devil's Playground, back in 1975 with the brilliant Fred Skepsey.
At the age of 3.
Hey?
At the age of 3?
Yes, at the age of 3. Yes.
You played an embryo in The Devil's Playground.
Yes. I Googled a bit,
That's a great film.
It is a good film. It still stands up really well. And that was just the most fantastic experience to have as your first director, Fred Skepsey. Man, that was unbelievable. Yep. So
is he still in your phone book?
Sorry?
Is he still in your phone book? Still in touch?
No, I don't.
Come on,
Fred.
Fred.
Unfortunately, he travels backwards and forwards in New York. He's in LA. But that was my start, and then I basically got an agent from that, and did guest roles in television for the next, I don't know, little bits and pieces, lots of commercials. I must say I've been very fortunate with commercials over the years.
I do see your face popping up every so often when I'm eating my dinner.
Sometimes
the Storm ad, the Melbourne Storm ad was one of my favourite pieces of your work. That's fantastic. Being
tackled by a nun.
It was great.
It was
a fantastic ad.
And then the one with the elephant, which was pretty good, which is for Viagra actually.
Oh.
Not that we were allowed to say that.
Okay, moving right along. Ian, thank you so much for coming in to JOY94.9 to talk about your short film as part of the Oz Shorts package, which I'm very excited about, Lisa. I think it's, I haven't seen them, so I'm looking forward to them, but it's always one of the highlights of Melbourne Queer Film Festival, I think, to see the quality of the material in the short version. I like a short film. Thanks, Ian.
Thank you.
Cheers.